Hey, welcome to part 7 of our creating a game character. So here I am in Substance Painter, and instead of you guys watching me paint and mask out the character, I thought that was probably pretty ridiculous. So I took the time to paint it the way I like it, and now I'll just break down and show you how I got to this point. So here's the final render in Iray that I kind of like, and let me show you how I got to this point. Alright, so let me just quickly go over the layers and just show you my process and how I got to this point, right? So in the last video we ended at this point where we just had the fixed AO and the normal map, right? And the in part 6 in the last video, what I would like to point out is if you click on your AO on and off, you should be able to see it going, turning on and off. If you don't see that, that means yours is being overridden by the Bake Mesh Maps AO. So in my case, I just deleted it. I actually, I don't need it because I'm using this AO instead. And I just simply went to here and just dragged my AO over it, because if you delete it, it's going to give you a red X, right? So just a trick to make sure that you are indeed previewing the AO that we did in last video. Just a quick little tip. All right, so the very first thing that I did is I chose a base for this character, which is just a let me show you. It's just a skin color that made sense to me. That's what I want my character to be. Obviously, you could choose whatever you like. And for the detail for the skin, instead of painting in skin detail and adding, noise and painting blemishes and all that, I just kind of cheated. I went to my Smart Materials and I downloaded something called Bone Stylized. You can get it from Substance Source, and I dragged it right over the base and set the blending mode to overlay. And that, if you look closely, you could see that kind of adds right away detail to the skin, which I like, and I think this makes sense. All right, so you're welcome to do something similar or play around and just paint the skin as you like. So that's my base, and let's just start from the top. So the first layer here is the bake lights, and the bake lights, the way you do bake lights is you just simply create a layer, and then if you right click, you can go to add filter and then do a bake light, and you can see how right away it kind of gives you more definition. Right now, here's the thing that I was telling you about. So because my ambient occlusion is missing from this list, it's not seeing it in here. So what I could do is just go to project, go to my maps, and just simply drag it on, right? So it's the same thing. So baking light is very cool to add definition, and the way you can test this, right, is if you go into the base color, you can see how it looks. This is how it looks without the bake lights, and this is how it looks with it. So that's a huge difference. It's actually painting your model with the gradient, creating the illusion of a light. Which is pretty amazing. That's why it's called bake lighting. And let's go ahead and move on to the next thing, right? So the next thing, once I did the bake lighting, and I did set it to soft light just so it's not too strong. The next thing that I worked on was the face, right? So for the face, I just painted some lips and the mask. I wanted a white mask. It's very simple. So you have white color for the mask, and let me go back into my material mode. And for the lips, you can see I just made them a little darker. For face detail, honestly, you can even see what it is, but I just added a little red on his cheeks. Then the next thing that I did is the eyes. For the eyes, I just went something kind of robotic almost. So I gave him black eyes with kind of a gradient pupil for the, so this is just a black base, and then I added the highlights. So it looks like he's almost, I don't know, robotic in some way. For the hair, it's just simply white hair, right? And because I added a fill layer, I can control this as I please. So I can, you know, choose any color I want. That's the benefit of using a fill layer versus the add layer, right? So I'm going to leave that on white. All right, so that's the hair. And finally, let me turn this off. And then finally, I did the tech suit. And let me show you my breakdown in the tech suit. So if I go up here, I'm going to show you guys how I did this. All right, so let me turn everything off. So the very first thing I did is I added a normal stamp detail. So in ZBrush, you remember we added these little round circle things. So in here, I just simply grabbed a brush and set the height and the normal map and just stamp this right onto the skin. Just kind of emphasizing the detail a little stronger. And I think that you can see that well if I do that. All right, after that, I added a this pattern, right? Just a simple pattern, just with the height and the normal map. And I then created a black mask and just simply masked out the portions of the character that I want this to be. And if I actually turn the color on, you can see how it was painted and which portions of the characters I chose to have the hexagon pattern and which I did not, right? So mostly just the back and the legs, but I had to carefully mask this out, and this is probably took the longest, is just kind of masking these out. And all right, so once I did that, let me show you what happened next. Next, I added the just the leather creased material, just a smart material, right? And this has the same masking applied, right? Also not going over the pieces that I don't want to be leathery, right? After that, I added another material called Glass Visor, and that's a smart material that you can grab right here. And I like this one because it's super reflective, and I think it looks cool. So instead of blue, I just simply I just dragged it on here and just changed the color to gray. And for the middle, I thought it makes sense if this was maybe kind of a darker leather, but I didn't use a material for this. This is just straight up a fill layer with the roughness set, you know, to a certain. So I didn't want it to be like super shiny, but maybe that's too little, that's too much. So maybe somewhere like in this space kind of makes sense. So that's pretty much it. Very simple, nothing complex, but I like how this character turned out. And I just wanted to show you my breakdown and my process. And let's go ahead in the next video. Let's take these maps. We'll export them out from Substance Painter and bring them into Maya so we can apply the materials and begin to start rigging the character for animation. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.